Family Sunday School, right here, right now. Family Sunday School in your living room. Ba, 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 ba. Woo! So guess what? We found our kitty cat that disappeared 4 months ago. So a neighbor a few blocks down the street found her in her tree, and her fur was all matted when we brought her home, and we thought she had lost weight, but it was because her fur was all gross and matted up and stinky, by the way. And so we gave her a bath, and her fur puffed back out, and she looked pretty normal, and we got her some special nutritional protein infused food. At first she did not like puppy Lulu at all, but after a while they started licking each other and brushing up on each other, and now Lulu wants to play with her all the time. But we opened our attic. Remember I showed you that I had my office in the attic? We opened our attic up all the time now, and it's a ladder coming down, so it's almost like Jacob's ladder. And then kitty cat gets to run up there, ascend up the ladder into the attic to escape little Lulu. Isn't that silly? What's ascend mean? Ascend. Ascend means to go up. And so whenever Chaos, my little kitty cat, goes up that ladder, she ascends the ladder and goes up. And today we're going to talk about Ascension in a different context, in a different story.
No.
Can you hand it to me? Oh, you want to show them? We're going to get out our Spark Story Bibles and read about the Ascension. Thank you, Asa. There's actually an Ascension story in Acts, Luke, Mark, and John. So we talked about the Gospels this year. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, plus the bed that I lie on. So the Ascension story...
I want to show them the back.
Oh, you want to show them the back? Okay. The Ascension story actually occurs in Mark and John and Luke, as well as Acts. Acts is kind of like a companion book, if you will, with Luke. They're kind of friends. They hold each other's hands. Each week, I'm going to share with you a different Bible. This one is really, really old. We're going to the Gospels, so we're starting with Matthew. And I want to look up the Ascension story, and I'm going to look up the Ascension story in the oldest of the Gospels, which is Mark. So it's Mark 16, 19 through 20. So we're in Matthew, and remember it goes Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. So if we're in Matthew, we want to go to Mark. And then we're in Luke, so we're too far. Okay, there's Matthew. There's Matthew. Oh, here's Mark. Chapter 16, it's the last page before we get to the Gospel of Luke. So we're at 16 and we want to go to 19 through 20. So here's chapter 16 and we're going to go all the way to 19 and read through 20. So that's the very last part. The Ascension is the very last part of Mark. About how in Jesus' time, a lot of stories were told orally or by mouth, by telling and retelling to people the stories over and over and over again, because not everybody could write. Nowadays, we tell stories a lot of different ways, don't we? We write them down, we have them in the Bible to read, we can tell them to people orally just like they did in the olden days. We can make a movie and tell a story. We can act it out and like for theater and tell a story. We can make a piece of art that tells a story. We can make a song that tells a story. There are so many ways for us to tell stories and share the news of Jesus with each other, or stories about God. So we're not that much different from people in Jesus' time who told stories, are we? So let's look at some different ways that the story of the Ascension is told. In this first picture, we see the feet of Jesus as Jesus ascends to heaven. In this second painting, we see Jesus' friends, both women and men, gathered around Jesus as Jesus ascends to heaven. Each artist has a different way of painting. Some use like more one-dimensional, they use different colors, they use different textures. So it's really unique how they can use the gifts that God gave them to tell these stories. So we have a ton of different paper here. August is going to pick out what kind of paper he wants to use to make the feet of Jesus ascending. You like that color? Let's flip through and try to find it. So August is tracing my feet. And then we're going to cut them out. Then we put glue on our little clouds. The Ascension. After Jesus died and rose again, Jesus and his disciples and friends got together near Jerusalem. Jesus had some instructions for them.
We'll see Jesus' feet
As you
ascending into
know,
heaven.
God is doing amazing things in the world, Jesus said, and your help is needed. We need you to go tell stories about me. Tell your friends and family and everyone you meet what you've learned by following me. Be my witnesses in the world. Build my kingdom. Then suddenly, Jesus was rising up in the air. What was going on? He was being lifted up into a cloud. Jesus' friends looked around. 2 angels in white robes had joined them. They said, "Why are you just standing around looking toward heaven? Don't worry, Jesus will come back someday." "Right," said one of Jesus' disciples. "Meanwhile, we have some work to do. Let's get going. Ask an adult who loves you to tell a story about Jesus. Then you tell them a story." Who'd like to say 1, 2, 3, clap? Asa, you go ahead.
1, 2, 3, clap.
And August, you'll say amen, okay? Okay, Asa, do it one more time. Say it. Say it.
I'm going to 1, 2, 3, clap.
Okay.
And I'm going to do it.
Okay, everybody close your eyes and bow your heads. Dear Divine Parent, thank you for giving us your love for all of us. Thank you for giving Jesus so that we can be transformed like a butterfly out of a cocoon. Thank you for giving gifts to each of us. Help us to use these gifts in your name, and in your name we ask all of this. All God's people say,
Amen.
Amen. Bye everybody, have a great day.
We're ready to see this.